Hey guys, PIEGUYRULZ here, and welcome back to a very special Square Theory. This isn't actually a theory video. This is a recap of the first 10 Square Theories I've made. That's right, I've made 10 Square Theories thus far in the span of about a year, and I think it's about time that I do a quick recap of the bullet points of each video. Seeing as I can be a little bit wordy at times, I think this is a nice way of refreshing everyone in terms of what I've said previously and boiling it all down to just some quick bullet points. So, without further ado, let's get started with the very first Square Theory I've ever done. Why is Good SpongeBob so rewatchable? It boils down to 2 points. First of all, Good SpongeBob has a lot of really memorable quotes and set pieces that you want to keep coming back to, and second of all, it has a very high joke per minute ratio, meaning tons and tons of jokes are coming at you from different places, and you probably won't catch all of them on first watch. There's a lot of really subtle gags that are thrown in there right after really big gags that you might have been laughing over the smaller ones on first watch, and you'll catch upon second watch. Theory number 2. Has Patrick always been a jerk? Yes, I think he always has been. Whether intentionally or not, he has done a lot of jerky things in seasons 1, 2, and 3. But I think that this can be a good thing, provided that A, he is funny with his jerky behaviors, B, his jerky behaviors are justified, meaning that he doesn't just do things randomly, he has reasons for doing things and that make a lot of sense within the story, and C, they add to the story. He never takes away from the story when he does things. In some of the bad Patrick episodes, Patrick will come in and just totally distract from the story while not being funny and being totally random and out of place. I think that if Patrick is doing something that furthers the story or doing something funny that doesn't take away from the story, that is a good thing. Theory number 3. Should SpongeBob have continuity? Yes, but not very much continuity. I think the show should have more references to earlier episodes, just small nods, that would show that the show is honoring its roots and would be a nice little bonus for longtime viewers. I think that the show should add secondary and tertiary recurring characters that would appear in more episodes and just provide more variety to the show. I think that the show should definitely add more locations than the usual Krusty Krab, SpongeBob's house, Goo Lagoon, Chum Bucket, etc. And I think that the show should add more hobbies for our main characters that make sense with them. Yes, SpongeBob has a lot of hobbies, but there's also been a ton of episodes about jellyfishing and about him flipping burgers at the Krusty Krab. Giving them maybe a few new hobbies would really help make more interesting plots that could carry over through multiple episodes. I do not think that the show should add any new main characters. I do not think that the show should go overboard with its fan service and just constantly be referencing things, and I do not think that the show should go on some sort of crazy story arc binge or anything like that. It should have a little bit of continuity, but it does not need much. How important is the story in SpongeBob? I think it's important, but not as important as the jokes. The story is mostly just there for the jokes to hang off of. If you strip most of the SpongeBob episodes of their comedy and just told them as stories, they're not very interesting stories. Most of them, anyway. And that happens for a myriad of reasons, being that the characters aren't very complex, the stories they tell aren't very complex, they don't really have much time in any given episode to even make complex stories, the stakes are pretty low in almost all of these stories, and there's very few action sequences. And really, there's not really any reason that a SpongeBob episode couldn't have jokes. There's no point in the series that I would say is too serious for there to be a joke here or there. No matter what, a story can always benefit from having more comedy in it. And also, the SpongeBob specials usually are pretty poorly told stories. How would I make a SpongeBob TV movie? Well, I wouldn't include Patchy. I would try to include as many of the other secondary and tertiary characters on the show, and I would try to put in at least 1 or 2 subplots. My ideas included things like superheroes, characters fighting with fast food items, and characters journeying to a far-off place. Basically, I described the SpongeBob movie too, before the SpongeBob movie 2 was out. It's kind of weird how a lot of my ideas ended up in that movie. Why is SpongeBob, the character, so annoying sometimes? Well, a little bit of it has to do with his voice, which keeps getting pitched up and up, but mostly it's because the character is meant to be annoying in show to other characters in the show, and when you take away the audience's ability to sympathize and understand SpongeBob, when SpongeBob's actions aren't justified and he's just acting like a weird, random, overacting alien thing, the audience doesn't sympathize with his plights, and to us, we just think he's acting weird and out of place and downright annoying. Were the Season 5 shorts a good idea? Yeah. Even though they were hit or miss at times, they definitely inspired the writers to be a little bit more creative because they had less time to fill. It added some variety to a series that was starting to stagnate a little bit in its formula, and overall it was just a nice mix-up. It's really unfortunate they didn't carry it through to future episodes, as I feel like they could have used the concepts to much better effect in future seasons once they had perfected them. Why do some Squid Torture episodes fail? Well, to put it bluntly, and I know this is a little bit overused, but Squidward comes off like an abuse victim. He can literally do nothing to escape his captors, even though he knows that SpongeBob and Patrick do nothing but cause him harm, and he desperately tries to escape. He is never able to. He is terrified of SpongeBob and Patrick, and he can never get any sort of revenge on them, and they never apologize. It's just comes off like a very sad, scary situation for Squidward, instead of a ridiculous situation, instead of a situation where Squidward is clearly angry and it's more SpongeBob and Patrick accidental, and Squidward overreacting and being angry for little reason and not having patience with them. He comes off as way more of an abuse victim than a character that just accidentally gets harmed. Can Hillenburg save the show? Maybe? It's very hard to say. Production surrounding SpongeBob is very closed off. Nickelodeon doesn't say very many things. I'm not sure exactly what position Hillenburg is coming back to. I'm not even sure when he came back, or if he hasn't come back yet. And technically speaking, saying he's come back is wrong because he's been with the show this entire time, just in a reduced way. And what that way was is totally unknown. It's possible that he very much approved of a lot of the scripts that people totally hate. And if that is the case, then probably nothing is going to change. Has Mr. Krabs' greed gone too far? Yes, it absolutely has, and the writers should pull it back because he has become a totally flat and one-dimensional character who is no longer interesting to watch in any way. When he doesn't talk about money, he is a lot more interesting than when he is constantly mentioning it. And even though they can pull off some really interesting plots surrounding the money, they definitely need to just reel it back a little bit because it's gone way too far. And that is my first 10 square theories summed up very briefly. If you're interested at all in hearing me talk about these at length, feel free to click on any of the annotations that feature those actual square theories. I go into a lot more detail there than I do here. I've got a lot of really interesting ones coming up, like why is Sandy so underused in the show, and can the new episodes of SpongeBob hurt the old episodes? That one's a really interesting theory. I think you guys are going to like it. So let me know what you think about the Square Theory series as a whole. Let me know if you have any requested theories or topics that you want me to talk about in future SpongeBob videos. And that's about it. PIEGUYRULZ, out.